Oh yeah, good morning, Rico. How are you doing today, bro? How are you?
I'm doing fine, but what about that audience?
Amazing. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, Adam's not gonna be back till next week now. He stayed for one more week. So just so you know. Planet 13, bro. You're going to love this, Rico. Planet 13 receives approval to sell its Florida license and acquire VidaCann, which is also a Florida license, for $49 million. The Las Vegas-based multi-state cannabis operator Planet 13 Holdings is one step closer to acquiring 26 medical cannabis dispensaries in Florida after receiving approval to sell its own license in the Sunshine State. The vertically integrated company announced on April 29th that it was given the green light for the proposed sale of subsidiary Planet 13 Florida Incorporated after it entered into a stock purchase agreement in January to sell all of the issued and outstanding shares of Planet 13's Florida common stock to SGWFL Enterprises LLC for a cash payment of approximately $9 million due at closing. The sale of Planet 13 Florida's Medical Marijuana Treatment Center license to SGWFL is a closing condition to Planet 13's roughly $49 million deal to acquire VidaCann, which also owns a MMTC license from the Florida Office of Medical Marijuana, the OMMU. While Planet 13 has 0 dispensaries in Florida, VidaCann owns 26 retail facilities and is engaged in cultivating, processing, storing, and transporting under its MMTC license, according to the OMMU. The 26 dispensaries represent 4.1% of Florida's medical cannabis retail footprint. And when Planet 13 first announced its proposed acquisition of VidaCann back in August of 2023, the CEO, Larry Scheffler, said the deal would significantly accelerate the company's time to market and its ability to scale in the Sunshine State, where voters will be deciding on adult use cannabis legalization amendment this November. VidaCann is one of the 10 largest Florida cannabis operators by retail network size, and we believe it has developed a reputation for high product quality and customer service, said Scheffler. In a press release. And he also says, we are excited to bring Planet 13's retail and product brands to Florida consumers after the closing of the proposed transaction, especially with the possibility of upcoming adult use legislation. The OMMU approval for Planet 13's Florida sale to SGW Florida and Planet 13's acquisition of VidaCann are the final regulatory approvals required for the transactions, according to Planet 13. The company extended the end date of the VidaCann deal to May 31st, 2024, and currently expects to close the transaction by then. Well, what do you guys think about this little shuck and jive with the Florida licenses going on out there? Planet 13 bought one license that had no infrastructure, and now they're getting rid of that and getting one that has some infrastructure. What do y'all have to think about that?
Larry already said it, man. He got all the money he wants. He can do what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about nobody else's feelings,
right? Well, I mean, bro, they paid $50 million for a standalone paper license. Right, and now they're selling that. They're selling that. They're only going to get $9 million back for that, and then they're spending how much? How much did it say? 29.
Well, he said they're flush with cash. He said they got more cash than they know what to do with. It looks like they don't. They're doing what they want with it.
Mm-hmm. Yarrow, what do you think about this, Yarrow?
Yeah, Mr. Real Estate.
Yeah,
Yarrow.
Mr. Real Estate. Yeah.
I have conflicted feelings around the valuation with limited license markets and how that is a problem and an opportunity. There's a lot of value that's created through the entitlement process, and in limited license markets, those licenses can be incredibly valuable. And for people who trade or divest of those licenses, they are creating value and they are realizing gains. And in Florida, it is my opinion that there aren't enough licenses, and that some of the value of that license, due to scarcity, not the complexity of getting the license, is an unfair advantage for those who acquire or have created those licenses. And it becomes a barrier to entry because not everybody's got that kind of money sitting around to be able to acquire a license. So I think we need to find markets that strike that balance where there's not just an unlimited number of licenses in a way that doesn't allow for a supportable level of output and throughput without diversion or inversion, but where they're not so coveted and so rare that only the highest echelon of well-capitalized entities can acquire them. So I like that Planet 13 is not just a dispensary in Vegas, that they have eyes on multiple markets. They're doing things, they're making moves. I think they've done a really good job of bouncing back from the El Capitan stuff that really rocked them financially because of the people they had relied upon to compliantly handle their money last fall and early this year. And I like Florida as a market. I think it's a great market. I like all of the Sunshine States. Give me Florida, give me Texas, give me California, give me Arizona. I think that these are great markets. I think Florida has a lot of upward momentum and opportunity. I can't wait to see adult use. And I'm saddened that home grows are not baked into the proposals for the next iteration of regs down there.
I think this is going to be interesting to watch. I mean, I have toured the VidaCann facility a number of times, and so I'm very familiar with the infrastructure that they have currently in place. And I hope Planet 13 is ready to dump a whole bunch more money into their infrastructure, because they're definitely going to need it if they want to be successful out there. But I guess we should just.
I think they were probably just making a business decision, in the sense that they're $50 million license with no infrastructure. What's it going to cost to get that producing revenue?
I agree with that.
Right. And when they bought the license for $50 million, it's easy, obviously, to take with something like that is a piece of paper in a limited license environment and to say, oh, well, now hindsight's 2020. It looks like they overpaid. But at the same time, is that what it was worth at the time?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's all
perception,
right?
yeah, it's all, yeah, it's like what was available. That's what they paid for it. And they felt it was that worth that at that time, or else they wouldn't have bought it.
Yesterday's price
And
ain't
I just
today's
wonder
price.
what the shareholders are thinking. If the shareholders are happy with their performance, and they made a pivot that was a smart pivot, this could be great news for the shareholders. It could be evidence of them, just flying by the seat of their pants. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with the vote, the ballot measure 3, if that passes and Florida goes adult use. This would probably have been a very good move.
I don't think it's going to pass.
And Jamie hit the nail on the head, right? It's not how much they paid for the license. It's how much money do they need to access to build out the infrastructure and facilities to be able to monetize that license. And at the time that they acquired the license, they might have had a very different set of cards in their hands in respects to accessing and deploying capital to build out facilities. And maybe that has substantially changed.
Fair enough.
And the thing was, they could have purchased based on the rules. They had to sell one to get the other.
Correct.
But in a normal world, a non-cannabis world, they would have just held on to it, and then they would have bought the other thing. But they just weren't allowed to own both. So their hand was being forced also by the dumb rules in Florida.
Fair enough. And Rico, you ready to roll?
Hell yeah.